From CN8, the Comcast network, this is a special edition of Art Fennell Reports.
And hello everyone, I'm Art Fennell, and welcome to another special edition of The Report. I'm on the road where all week I'm going to be traveling across the country, bringing you a series of reports on issues important to the day. We're calling it Postscripts, because what we hope to do is bring you that extra information, these things that you don't typically get to hear or see about in deep detail. We're going to be doing that as we travel around the country. So we're beginning here in Atlanta. This is Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Did you know this is the busiest airport in the world? And so it's the perfect staging area to bring you an insider's look at the troubled airline industry. You already know this, but the prices you're paying are up, on-time arrivals and departures are down, and the airways are simply packed. So what gives here so that you can have a better flying experience? That's what we hope to find out. We're going to take you behind the scenes so that you can get an unprecedented look from everything from the terminal to the tarmac, and an exclusive look all the way up in the control tower. Let's begin as we get cleared for takeoff. Thousands of times every day, the many moving parts of the aviation industry come together to safely deliver airplanes full of people and cargo to their destinations. People just like Rachel Lightbourne.
I'm going from Nassau, Bahamas to Mexico. I had to overnight in Atlanta because they didn't have any flights that would go straight through.
Adding to Rachel's dilemma is her traveling companion, a huge surfboard that now counts as extra weight, an oversized item, and an extra checked bag, all of which, as a result of recent changes, will cost Rachel more money.
They put in the notes in my reservation that it was going to be a one-time charge.
Okay, I have to pull that up for you.
Thank you.
Back to Rachel a bit later. These days, traveling can be painful, whether it's extra baggage fees, high ticket prices, cramped seats, delayed flights, or poor customer service. Not to mention the invasive nature of the security checkpoints, where you better have your plastic bag ready and not exceed your 3-ounce limit for your gels and liquids. Just ask Susan Harris about that.
Yeah, this is a pain in the neck. In fact, I have my little plastic bag here that I need to find some place to go and unearth all of my liquids, lotions and stuff that are in my purse. I forgot all about that till I got here. It's ridiculous, really.
And does anyone understand those complicated pricing schemes? And what about those complex connection schedules? For example, consider this real scenario. A round-trip ticket from Philadelphia to Atlanta direct for a same-day business meeting cost a passenger $360. That's for a direct flight. His companion flew down for the same business meeting, then flew on to Florence, South Carolina, before coming home on a flight the next day through Charlotte, North Carolina, on a different airline. That was a much more complicated itinerary, but that ticket cost half the price. Passengers we talk to feel they're being nickel and dimed. Like this guy, who went to the trouble of bringing his own bathroom scale to the airport because he was so concerned that his bags would be too heavy. If they are, that's another $50.
So I know if I hold it, I know how much I weigh, and then I add it on what, the total, and I see how many pounds that I have in each bag.
I guess we're all doing the math these days, and especially the executives who run the airlines. According to the Air Transport Association, every penny increase in the price of oil costs the airline industry some $200 million. Fuel is by far the biggest factor in those fare hikes and add-on fees that we all hate. Take a look at some of the things the airlines are doing to try and become more fuel efficient. For starters, they're flying smaller planes, opting for regional jets now over those old wide bodies. The airlines are eliminating flights, trying to fill every seat on every plane. They're flying slower. An extra 3 minutes in flight may not seem like much to you, but it could save the airlines millions over time. The planes are more aerodynamic. Notice these tips at the edge of the wings. They're in the up position to reduce the drag. And when on the ground, when possible, the planes taxi by using only one engine, which of course burns only half the fuel. Arrival delays at the airport cost the airline some $8 billion a year. Ben DaCosta is the general manager of Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta Airport. He explained to me just how airlines and airports must work together to improve their on-time performance.
We have opened in May '06 our 5th runway. It was a roughly $1.2 billion project, and it has improved the performance of our airfield and reduced the delays substantially.
But building new runways costs a lot of money and is all but certain to meet opposition from the community. Bob Francis is a former vice president of the National Transportation Safety Board.
I mean, it'd be lovely if in New York there was a great, huge chunk of acreage right near New York where you could build a huge new airport. I mean, it would be safer, it would be more efficient, it would be more environmentally advantageous, but you don't have that luxury.
Pilots I've talked to tell me the biggest fear for them isn't air congestion or near misses. They say it's the congestion here on this tarmac. Everything's moving. The planes are taxiing, the baggage handlers, trucks, buses, all trying to make their way quickly through a tightly packed area. But they say the slightest little mishap could result in ultimately someone getting hurt, or at the very least, a plane full of passengers being stranded on the ground, possibly for hours.
From a layperson, you'll say, well, gee, it kind of looks like maybe an anthill where everybody's going every which way. But it is very well orchestrated and works smoothly.
DaCosta's point is not lost on the fact that overall the airlines have a decent safety record. But recently, maintenance and oversight violations resulted in the groundings of fleets from Southwest Airlines as well as American Airlines, and it raised questions about the FAA's relationship with the airlines. That said, there hasn't been a major airplane accident in this country since 2001. That's when American Flight 587 crashed just after takeoff in Queens, New York.
When you think that there are 60,000 operations in the commercial system in this country a day, multiply 60,000 by 365 by 6 years, that's a bunch of takeoffs and landings.
Finally, remember Rachel?
How are we? We're good?
Yes.
She and her surfboard checked in and got their boarding passes. Their flight was scheduled to leave on time, and she didn't get charged extra for the surfboard. But those security lines sure looked long.